Hi.
Amie, finally.
Hi. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Great. Thank you. It's
Oh
nice
my,
to see you in person. I've heard your
oh,
voice in your podcast, and it's fun to see your beautiful face.
thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited because it took us so long to get here through fires and COVID and everything. So
It's been a journey of a year in 2020, hasn't it?
it has, and it's all up in the air for you guys at the moment. So we'll see, hey?
Well, we're just, we just rolling with it. Gotta practice resilience, I guess.
I was about to say, we are resilient. Just a warning, both my kids, of course, are unwell today. So I've told them to be quiet and they're playing Minecraft. But
Oh, that's okay. How old are your children?
9 and 6.
Oh, so I have a 6 and a 7-year-old. So
Oh, lucky you.
I can relate. Luckily, my kids are been back in school for the last 3 weeks. We're hanging on every day to make sure they stay in school. But I was very familiar and have been doing running a company and Zooming and having homeschooling children in the other room. So
Yes. And it was just, one of my biggest problems is the kids I can tell to go away and be quiet. But my husband was sitting right here with I swear, the world's noisiest keyboard. And I'm like, dude, but he's out today. He's on a site visit. So calmness. So how are you? Do you have boys or girls or both?
I have my boy is 7.5 and my daughter is 6.5.
I have girls 9, almost 10, boys 6.
Yeah,
they are
fun.
noisy
Fun
creatures.
ages, so very fun ages.
I love them to pieces, but yeah, Felix fell off the fireman pole in playground yesterday, banged his head. We think he's got concussion, so that's why he's home. Good times. So lovely to see your face. What I do is I'll go through the bio. I did cut out a bit about your agency, but feel free to talk about your agency because the bio felt really long. And then I go through the questions. But if we go off on tangents, it's fine. It's a conversation. And anything you have to say of value, I know you're talking about resilience and getting through this pandemic, and the world has even evolved even further since we first started trying to line this up. So talk about whatever you want. I'm not married to the questions. I will sometimes bring them back, and then I'll give you an opportunity to welcome people to your website or whatever you've got going on in terms of promo at the end.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool. So I do the smile and breathe.
Are you filming?
I am filming.
Oh, a video too?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's why I say vlog. People miss that. I mean, like, it's video. You look beautiful. You look beautiful. Do you want lippy, brush your hair, anything? No. I decided to let my hair go curly a year ago, and now it's just always mad. So I just go with it. So yeah, it's video. So I'll share the link when it's done. Smile. Hello and welcome to the Smart Women in Business vlog and podcast. Today I am very excited to be talking to Amie Stanley, founder and CEO of E29 Marketing. Amie founded her independent award-winning advertising agency in 2017 after co-owning and managing several women-owned agencies. Her 27-year career has been defined by building brands and breaking through the barriers for women in business. Amie has held executive-level account management and strategic planning positions at top agencies from New York City to San Francisco, where she delivered exceptional results for a roster of leading brands including Coca-Cola, Sauser, Courvoisier, Kraft Foods, and Chicken of the Sea, which we all love from Jessica Simpson. Earlier in her career, Amie was a pioneer in shopper marketing, launching Publicis Dialogue's first shopper marketing division titled Publicis Retail Connections. She's led retail marketing seminars in Asia, London, and across the US. She's also an advocate of young women in business, which is so important in this day and age. Amie speaks at events and provides marketing support to several women-focused nonprofits, including Alliance for Girls. Amie is speaking to us today from San Francisco Bay Area where she lives with her husband and her 2 young children. Welcome, Amie. Yay!
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. It's been a journey for us to get here. Amie has Amy and I started this a while ago, and then there was bushfires and COVID and all sorts of things. But here we are, two women getting through being self-employed in 2020. I'd love to know about your business journey, Amy, apart from 2020, but I'd love to know any tips on there. So tell me about how you came to be where you are today.
Oh gosh. Well, my passion for advertising started as far back as I can remember. For some reason, I had this idea that I wanted to work for an advertising agency all the way back when I was in high school. So when I set out to college, I grew up on a farm in Iowa. So I went to the University of Iowa, and I got a degree in communications and art. I've always been very interested in the creative side of things, but I ended up finding my skill set in account and strategy. But just always had a passion for the business. I love what I do, and have always been focused on it from a very early age. But when I graduated in the early 90s, the job market in the US here was, especially in advertising was horrible. And the pay was awful. So I landed my first job at a small agency in Denver, and I actually worked the front desk as a receptionist for free for a couple of months until I was able to get the account coordinator position. And I waitressed at nights and on the weekends to pay bills, and just, got my foot in the door and got going. And my first real big job was at a promotional agency in Denver, working on the Coors Brewing account, and was really lucky to work on, I didn't know it at the time, but to work on an account with huge budgets. The beer business still today has some of the largest budgets. So I was working on lots of different things, and I got to touch a lot of different things really early in my career. And really, that helped fuel my passion for the business and kind of find my way. And throughout my career, I've just really tried to be a sponge. I've worked with a lot of great, amazing coworkers I'm still friends with today. I've had some great mentors and bosses that have really shaped who I am. And so I spent the next few years in my career kind of jumping from smaller agency to large agency, kind of jumping across the US. I started in Denver, then Chicago, and then from Chicago to San Francisco, and then San Francisco to New York, and now I'm back in San Francisco. So I like adventure, and I've always been, very driven and career focused. But flash forward to 2008, I got married when I lived in New York. We decided to leave New York for Southern California, and it all sounded like a great idea at the time. And then I got to San Diego, and I was like, oh wow, what do I do with my career? There aren't really any big agencies here. I've always worked at these huge shops and worked on really sexy accounts, and so I had to just say, what next? And thankfully, I was able to pick up a few freelance positions, and I started consulting for some, bosses and things, and ended up partnering up with my previous partner, and we built an agency for about 10 years, a very successful agency. Is how I got to the Bay Area. But, partnerships are tough. So about 3 years ago, we parted ways. And I found myself in another really big turning point in my life. Like, oh, what next? Do I go back to, the city and go back to a big agency? And so literally overnight, I started E29 Marketing. And that's thankfully today, E29, we're thriving. We have an amazing team around me and some really amazing clients. And, we're making it through this crazy year. So
congratulations, anyone who makes it through this crazy year.
And, it's really been my personal journey that's shaped my company now, what I wanted it to be about. Even the name itself, E29, is actually the name of the highway I grew up on.
I was going to ask about, because I like branding.
My parents' farm in Iowa. And I just thought, when you're thinking of a name for your own company, it's kind of like, I wanted it to be meaningful, but catchy at the same time.
Yeah.
So I like, names of places with numbers in them. But no, seriously, I really wanted it to be about what are the foundations I want of my company. So, obviously I'm from the Midwest United States. It's all about hard work ethic, and, loyalty and integrity. But being based here in the Bay Area, we're really, forward thinking and all about, we've really had to be nimble and moving with the changes. But one of the best things I think about having my own shop is being able to form our company culture. And, we're really like a family. Our clients are family. and I loved working at really big agencies, and I worked at some amazing shops, but I didn't always like some of the things that happen at big companies, all the layers and the politics, and no matter how good a job you're doing, it's kind of, I've always been in client service, and for me, it's always important to deliver an amazing client product. And sometimes I didn't feel like I could do that. So that's one of the things I feel like we get to do really well here. And I personally want to deliver that. And I touch all of our business is that like amazing, where our clients are first. And it's not about E29. It's really about our clients. So
yeah, that's the privilege of having your own, your own business or your own agency, is that you do get to deliver your service how you want to deliver it.
Exactly. And your name's on it. So
client relationships are just so fun. And that's part of the joy. Otherwise we'd go and work with other people, but for other people rather. So your business has obviously evolved a lot over the last couple of years. So what were the signs for you that, apart from obviously the partnership breakdown, but what were the signs for you that you needed to evolve and change, especially in marketing where the landscape changes constantly?
Well, when we decided to, start out on my own, I just felt like I really needed to have a point of differentiation. I think women owned, first of all, and most of my team we're women run as well, is a point of differentiation because, we think differently and we just really kind of go about things a different way. But from a capability standpoint, I knew we had to get deep in digital capabilities. I'd had a great agency before, but it was more, I would say, general advertising and things. And we just wanted to get deep in digital, and as well as even deeper in metrics. So I really believe in, advertising isn't just all about the pretty pictures now. It's all about delivering ROI and numbers and metrics. So developing a really strong analytical platform, so we got going in that direction in year one. And then kind of year two, we decided we need to even go deeper. So we brought digital media buying capabilities in-house, because we wanted to really control the whole from start to end. And when it comes to analytics and measurement, if you're only delivering it so far to the media company, and then you can't really impact the results. And there's that, I don't want to say disconnect, but it's a partnership. We like being able to do it, the full 360 and be able to like guarantee those. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to do it and learn from those results and then keep applying those on the next program. Yeah. So bringing digital media buying capabilities in-house was a big move for us. And then, then COVID hit this year. And so we had to completely change again, really our style. So our model is, I have several folks that are remote. And then we have an office with folks here in San Francisco, but because I really believe it's all about bringing the best talent, regardless where you are. And so we were already a pretty flexible model. But, that beginning of the year made us all very flexible, right? So we had to, make change again and figure out how to work together as a team. And we actually pitched a really big piece of business and won it over Zoom, which is very unusual because I'm used to doing, big dog and pony show pitches. And so we've really learned to kind of, and also I have a lot of folks on my team that are at home with their families, some working moms. So we've all had to learn how to deal with this new normal. But I think it's made us tighter as a team. So I really feel then over this past year, we've grown and we've put a lot of new digital tools in place to deal with that. But overall, I think we're stronger for sure for it.
Yeah, I think a lot of relationships are stronger as well. I was talking to Amy before we came on about how I've been sitting next to my husband for the last 6 months, who has the world's noisiest keyboard, and just trying to go with that. But it's interesting that you talk about the power of data and how ROI and that strategic data is so important in marketing. And I think that we do in marketing and branding have a tendency to focus on the pretty pictures, because that's the front end, and we forget
the fun part, right? It's the fun part why we do it, but
it is fun. But data, there's so much power in data, and we just sort of go, oh yeah, we'll skip over that. But the power, and for anyone listening to this, the power is in your numbers. In any type of marketing, you've got to make sure that your agency is accountable to that. I'm talking to the wider audience here. Make sure your agency knows their data, because otherwise you have nothing to build on. You don't know your ROIs. You don't know whether you're failing or succeeding. And yeah, branding isn't all about pretty pictures.
Yeah, I think that the industry's really embraced it. I would say over the last, 5 years, it's really
Mm.
forefront, which is great because of digital, because everything's measurable now.
Now it is. Yeah, I love it. And I'm a big data geek anyway, don't get me started. So you have two small children, as you mentioned. How do you manage your life as an entrepreneur in general and then in COVID times?
Oh gosh, I was going to say it's two different things. One of the things I figured out during COVID is that I thrive on structure, and that's how, I generally have a plan of how things are going to go, but then I feel like I am really flexible and, kind of take everything day by day. So COVID kind of threw that all, in the fire. So I had to learn how to get things together in the non-structured world of COVID. But, just taking it, day by day, like have an overall plan, but I really just try to, because there is a lot on my plate. So I just try to, let's just get through the day. But, the biggest thing on how I handle, I would say, my entire life, both personally and professionally, is that I just really believe in the power of positive thinking. And you really have to just know you can do it and have a positive attitude about it, because work is hard, life is hard, and you just have to put a positive spin on it or it's impossible to get through. And I really believe in the power of positive leadership and positive reinforcement, as opposed to, it's not that you can't be tough. It's just, I feel like being driven from that very positive place has seemed to always been worked for me. My team calls me the cheerleader. I know I drive them crazy. I'm always like, team. But it's what I know, and it's what works for me, and it's what feels good. And it's actually been what's, I feel like, gotten me personally through a lot of these really hard times during COVID, of trying to homeschool and how do you run a company, and that roller coaster. So
yes, I'm very much the positive focus in everything. Always come out with a smile on my face no matter what's happening. And my husband's like, oh, he's the very sensible one, and he's the pessimist, I'm the optimist, and we balance each other out. But I drive him bonkers with my unrelenting positivity.
But I always, the last piece of that is I just surround myself with a great support team. I mean, on the home front, I have amazing support, and then at the office, first of all, I have an amazing team, but then you just have to figure out what can you handle, what can you not handle, and just get the proper support in place, because as an entrepreneur, there's no way you could handle it all. And you just have to recognize that you can't do that, and trust other folks. I think that's one of the hardest things about learning to be a leader, is to lead and let go of the, I used to be a doer and I am a doer. And I like to do that, to just keep doing. But being able to delegate and get support and kind of keep the team moving forward is very important.
And it's focusing on your own zone of genius and letting everyone else take care of the rest. And that's a big step for every entrepreneur I know, is going from that, because we do often start off by ourselves doing all the doing.
Yes.
And now then when we go to that, okay, I've got to delegate, that letting go of that control, and it can be a very tricky thing to negotiate. And having the good people, the good team around you who will step into that is absolutely crucial to scaling and being successful on that larger platform.
Well, I really feel like that's impacted me in the last 5 years, because, advertising is so changed from, I've been doing it for my whole career, where we used to present things, sketches on, pencil sketches and fly all the creative team in, to now emailing creative that you would have never done before and presenting it via Zoom, and just the digital landscape. I mean, on many things in the digital landscape and social media, and even in our metrics, I'm way out of my comfort zone. And I recognize that. And so my philosophy has always been, since I've had an agency, is to surround myself with the smartest people and the best talent. Like, I'm happy to not be the smartest person in the room, because I do know that, growing up in this business, I did I worked my way up the ranks. So early on, I could do it all because I had done it all. But with the onset of digital media now, I just have to recognize that, I need to trust it to the experts and just, lead as best I can. So
yeah, trust. So what does a great day in the office look like for you? What's your favorite thing to do?
Oh, my favorite thing to do. Well, my favorite thing is my team. And actually I love coming into the office. It's funny. That's one thing COVID gave you an appreciation of. Now I sometimes am just like giggling on my way to the office because I'm not trapped at home. Now that my kids are back
Happy
in school.
dance.
But I actually I love my job. I love working, and I love my team. I love mentoring folks. I love working with our clients. I love, solving a big client problem and having a productive team meeting and then a great client presentation. And I just love all of it. Of course there's challenging, tough times and lots of stuff to deal with that isn't fun. And especially in advertising, it's actually quite challenging with client service. You're usually dealing with a lot of challenges. But, for me, it's all about the people and just the relationships and again, having your own shop. You can work with, the partner vendorships and the creative teams that I want to work with, and the E29 team. I mean, they're all hand selected. So it feels great. And I love producing great work with them. So
it's a real privilege to be in a job that you love. And I think especially women in business now, often our work is tied in very closely into our identity, if I could speak today. And I think that's really empowering thing, where we used to be saying, oh, you work too much, or, you're not around your kids enough. We used to get judged for it. Now we're stepping into this thought leadership and saying, you know what, we can do both, and we can do both well.
Well, I have a lot of moms on my team, and I have a new mom on my team. And something I told her and something I really believe in is that I feel like I'm a better mom because I'm working and I love doing what I love, and also vice versa. I feel like I've really fine-tuned my craft being a mom because you learn how to multitask and focus more, and you don't take things for granted. And just there's a lot of things that I think they really balance each other out. So I just try to embrace that and not feel guilty about it. Because, I think early on I did, but then I realized, and I definitely realized being home with them at COVID 24 hours a day, that I'm much better. Like when they're at
I'm
school,
a better person when I'm working.
But I got married later in life and had kids later in life. So it's like, it is really, my career has always been really important to me. And I don't think you should have to sacrifice either one. I do think the idea of balance is not reality. You have to just decide what makes you happy, and it's all about fulfillment, as opposed to there's no balance. You just have to kind of prioritize and just stay doing what makes you feel fulfilled and happy.
Yeah, not anyone else's definition of that. We're all living our own reality. It's what people look like from the outside looking in. They might not see how you work too much. No, I actually really love it, and it keeps me sane. So I love it. So what are the tools that you use within your team? This is a question I always ask, because the way I see this podcast is to help women who are coming up and learn the tools of the trade. So what are the tools that you guys use to stay connected as a team apart from Zoom?
I was going to say Zoom has become a huge part of our life, and we used to only use it sporadically. And now, I think we all enjoy it and love it. We are all on video Zoom for all of our big client meetings as well as our team meetings. And we've really embraced it. Our team uses, other communication tools like Slack and those types of tools. But, being a very media metrics driven company. So, Google Data Studio, Adobe Marketing Mix Models, lots of data driven kind of things. And then, we're always exploring new vendors and partnerships. And there's so many new tools out there all of the time that we're using, depending on, it kind of really varies by the project as well. What the creative needs are for that project or what. So
it's fun. I love new tools. I try not to shiny object syndrome too much. So,
yeah, I can get too much go. I kind of stayed with the tried and true, but our team uses a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So.
So one of the things that I always ask on this podcast, and I am thinking about changing this up, but I think it affects everyone in business, is imposter syndrome. So what have been your methods to overcome this, and how do you respond to the bad days in business? Because we live in this world where we see everyone's Instagram feeds and everyone always looks like they're having a great time and they're having a beautiful life. But on the inside, one of the hardest things of being an entrepreneur, especially if you're working alone and then building up a team, is dealing with those bad days by yourself or within your team. So how have you developed that resilience?
Yeah, so I thought about this one a lot, and overall in my career, since I kind of have always been really focused on and excited, and early on I was working at big agencies and big accounts. It's very exhilarating and exciting, and because I worked really hard, I always felt like I earned my seat at the table, and I was never. Someone told me early in my career, if you're not challenged by the next position or scared to death at the next position you're taking, that it's not the right fit. And I feel like I've always kind of taken that approach. Like I love challenges and, what next, more and more. So I've never really felt like, oh, I shouldn't be here, or maybe I'm an imposter. But now I would say a feeling to answer the second part of that question is, a lot of times, and I would say this has been specifically this year during COVID, is when I feel like there are times when I'm having a tough day, or you can't find that balance, or, being a working mom where I feel like I'm disappointing the team, or I'm not being the leader I want to be. And I feel like I'm really hard on myself on, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough for E29? Am I doing enough to lead the team? Mostly because I have such an amazing team. I feel like, more and more and more, but I feel like that's been mostly since I've had E29. But earlier in my career, I feel like I was just excited to be at every position I was at. And I don't know, that's like, I guess I've just really I haven't tried to fake it. And I just, I know I'm not an expert in some things. I'm just happy to be there. I work hard to get there, and you just have to do what you can do on your, your own, and accept it. And, when it comes to feeling like, from a leadership standpoint, if I'm not doing enough, I've really had to come to terms with being, just saying it's okay, or doing what you can, and being good to yourself, I guess.
Yeah, be kind to yourself. Accept that we can't always do it all, be it all, and have it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you've mentioned your team. So how else do you maintain your sense of community while being a leadership woman in leadership in business?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure if I'm so great at maintaining. Up and down. But community is super important to me. But for me, it's all about the people in my life. Like relationships kind of drive everything, whether it be my family, my coworkers. There's all the digital tools out there, maintaining your social media platforms and all those things. But quite frankly, I like an old-fashioned phone call. And I wish I had more time to just pick up the phone and call. And I think this year has really made me take a look at what's important to me, and really trying to pick up the phone and call those folks and keep that sense of community. I'm lucky, we live in a community that's a really good support system for moms and working moms, and have great, friends and family from that community standpoint. But I think just the old-fashioned contacting and talking to each other. I love to call my team on the phone instead of texting and slacking and all that. Like I said, I still like some of the old school tactics, because I think that's true connection and real community. Not that I do the other things as well,
but yeah, it's actually seeing people's faces, hearing people's voices, and that human side of things is one of our basic human needs. So that sense of belonging. Connection.
I don't think there's anything that can replace actually talking to somebody, so.
And that will help, obviously, your amazing team culture. So yeah. So what's your why? What keeps you motivated in your business and your life?
Oh, well, sort of an easy, my why definitely is my family. So I have my work family. I really do think of them as family. And then my kids and my immediate family, my kids and my husband. But my parents and sisters and all those, my immediate family as well. But, I do think that, being a mom is my number one priority. Early in my career was absolutely my number one priority. And I actually feel lucky that I got to a point where I can do it on my own. I am an entrepreneur. If I was still, working in a big shop, working till 10, 11 o'clock at night, I wouldn't be able to have the life with my kids that I have. So I really value that. But both are important to me. So I really try to work at that balance because I don't want to disappoint. It's constantly finding that balance of not disappointing one or the other, because I don't want to fail either of them. So it's constantly, that's definitely my why, is keeping both my families happy.
And they have a tendency to do this in balance, up and down, up and down. Yeah. Absolutely. But they're all loved, very loved. So what's your number one top tip? What's your top 3 tips, whatever, for all the smart women in business in the world, from startup to advanced?
So I would say the number one thing for me is that, since I do believe in the power of positive thinking, with that starts be kind. I really don't believe you have to be super cutthroat and nasty in business to get ahead. Really feel like I found a lot of success building great relationships and having a really positive approach. And I think as women, we sometimes feel like we have to be tougher or more cutthroat. We won't be successful if we're being that way. And I just, just being kind and thinking about that first as you go into whatever relationship it is. But also I don't think I'm really afraid, and I like to take risks. So you got to take a risk, just the universe will send you whatever it's supposed to come to you. But I feel like you just got to take a leap of faith and believe in yourself. And also don't try to be, something you're not with that. Don't look at the competition and you have to do it your way. I think that's something that women uniquely bring to the table, is do it your way. And that's going to be great. Whatever that deliverable is that's going to be your stamp of your own personal brand, and live it and do it your way. And at E29, we have, our tagline is elevating the agency experience. So we just really want to do things in the E29 way, make everything a little bit more exceptional. So and just keep learning, keep changing. Just got to keep rolling with it. If this year taught us anything, it's about resilience.
We're all evolving.
I keep moving on the next thing. Our agency, we used to have what I thought was some forward-thinking culture and benefits and things. We had work from home Fridays and some other really things that I thought were beneficial. But now, all that, we all work from home now, or most people do. So I have to completely rethink all of our benefits. You constantly have to be okay, how do I stay on the edge of the next thing? And how do I reinvent myself? And what are we now? Whether it be from technical capabilities to, your thinking and changing with the world. I feel like our clients now, a lot of times we're recommending building, quarterly plans or 6-month plans as opposed to annual plans, because the world is changing so quickly. It's just not a good spend anymore to do a whole annual plan. So all those little aspects of business, you just gotta be ready to roll with
nimble, change. It's strange, isn't it? Because 12 months used to be so standard, and now 12 months is a really, really long time now. And
it is, yeah.
So much can happen in 12 months. So
perfect way. And that's why I say don't try to, you have to do it your own way, because there isn't the perfect recipe. And then if so, you won't be doing it authentically, and it won't feel good. And you have to just, find what's right for you. And that's something different for everybody.
That alignment is really important.
Yeah.
You've got to feel aligned with your clients and the way you work and your method, the way you deliver what you do.
Yeah. And as a team, and, sometimes we'll get feeling like something's not working and try to say, okay, how can we do this differently? Or, relationship starts to feel a little funny, and you got to think about how how can we kind of mix this up and take a different approach maybe for what we're doing.
I love that. Thank you. So, wonderful, Amie. How can listeners find out more about you and what you do every day?
I would love to hear from anybody. I love talking to women and anybody, not just women, young women, helping them, teaching them. But go to our website, or anyone can email me directly. It's E29Marketing.com. And love to hear from you. So
thank you so much, Amie, for your time. I will put the links to Amie's website in the show notes, and you can contact her if you would like to know more about Amie and her journey and what she does. So thank you so much, Amie. I really appreciate your time.
So much. It's fun.
Okay, thanks.